After saying that, Goku fired the burst of energy at Sinister Mark, causing a controlled explosion that finally finished him. There was no screams or anything, just silence, since Goku only wanted to end this without causing more suffering. Prisoner Mark just stared, not fully understanding what he had just seen, as his variant was eliminated instantly. That made his anger fade, and he began to feel fear at Goku's powers. Why? Why do you fight with such resolve? What truly motivates you? There isn't a single reason. I fight for my friends, and for the people who believe this world can still get better. I fight because I want to surpass myself and see what I'm capable of. Empty words. Do you really think that? Or do you simply not know what to do with what you are? Prisoner Mark lifted his gaze without answering, showing how irritated he was with Goku's words, since he didn't plan on conceding, and much less setting aside his objective. We don't change. We'll destroy everything wherever we go until they bow to our strength. This ends here. I won't let you keep hurting others. Prisoner Mark lunged one last time, letting out a scream that tore from his throat. It was no longer rage or hatred he felt at that moment, it was only desperation. Seeing his reaction, Goku simply stepped forward and delivered a precise blow to his chest, which finished the variant. After the impact, Prisoner Mark fell onto his back, bringing the fight to a close. Goku didn't want to stay and look at the bodies of the Mark variants since he didn't like seeing what they had become. But at least he took comfort in the idea that in this world, it would be different. Now that the fight was over, Goku took to the air to travel across the city in case anyone else needed help. From above, he could see citizens and heroes gathering, realizing that the situation was more under control for now. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city was Oliver, who was flying around the area in his new suit. He was more than determined to help his brother with this problem, as he felt he could make a difference even if he wasn't half as strong as his brother or his father. Oliver thought that training with Goku and Mark had prepared him enough to hold his own in combat, or so he believed. Realizing there had been explosions near the buildings, Oliver decided to land near the highway to see who it was. However, he stopped instantly on seeing a figure emerging from the smoke. It was Mark, but something was clearly wrong. His suit was covered in dried blood, and his smile wasn't his brother's. It was a twisted smirk of superiority and disdain. I knew sooner or later one of you would come to get in my way, but I thought someone worthwhile would show up. Oliver clenched his fist at the sound of the variant's voice, trying to keep calm as he stood before him. I don't know who you are, but you're not my brother. You only look like him, so I'll stop you right here, even if I have to smash your face. I won't let you keep hurting people. The variant burst into laughter after hearing Oliver's words, since he couldn't take someone so young seriously. Your brother, you say? I didn't know the Mark of this world had one. But that makes things interesting, because if I finish you off, it'll surely hurt him. After saying that, the variant rushed at Oliver without warning. His movements were fast and almost unpredictable for Oliver, who barely managed to block the first punch. But the second sent him straight into a concrete wall that crumbled under his body. Even so, Oliver quickly got up, bleeding from his eyebrow, but without taking his eyes off the enemy. He shook his head and launched himself with all his might to counterattack. Well, you're not as fragile as I thought, but let's see how long that lasts. The variant decided to respond in kind and shot toward Oliver, and the two met in the air, trading blows at high speed. Oliver gave it his all, dodging with effort and landing a few well-placed punches to the variant's stomach and jaw, even managing to shove him with a spinning kick that knocked him onto an abandoned bus, which flipped over from the impact. But it wasn't enough, as the alternate Mark stood up furious, unable to tolerate that a mere kid was giving him a fight. Damn brat, I'm sick of you! After saying that, Mark's variant flew at full speed at Oliver, landing a heavy blow to his chest with such force that it threw him to the ground, dragging him along for several meters. Oliver tried to stand, but he felt the air not returning to his lungs for a moment, making his vision blur. The variant descended slowly toward him, approaching with a murderous smile, as if he already considered him finished. You really did give me trouble, but this ends here. At that instant, the variant moved to finish Oliver off, but just as he raised his fist to eliminate him, someone descended from the sky at incredible speed, striking him and forcing him to reel violently backward. Despite being dazed, Oliver lifted his gaze to see who it was, and he was greatly surprised to see his father, the same man once known as Omni-Man. Oliver couldn't believe it, but he was sure it was him, recognizing him by his suit and the faint memories he had from when he was a baby. However, Nolan didn't look at him, since the priority was to deal with the Mark variant. I didn't think I'd see the day I'd have to fight an evil version of my own son, and yet I'm not surprised. I suppose this was inevitable. All Viltrumite paths end in blood. Oliver couldn't stop looking at him, stunned, disconcerted by the appearance. His voice came out as barely a whisper between gasps. Dad, is that you? We'll have time to talk about that. Focus now, Oliver. What? What are you doing here? Nolan only frowned and, without a word, launched straight into the attack, landing a heavy punch to the variant's face that knocked him down completely, but Nolan didn't stop and kept hitting him. Nolan's blows were so fast and strong that they gave him no time to react, leaving the Mark variant trapped beneath all those strikes. Truth be told, this didn't bring back good memories for Nolan, since it was similar to the way he had fought his real son the first time he revealed himself. But now he was doing it because it was the right thing. After a few minutes, Nolan stopped hitting him, leaving him badly hurt and unable to recover. Oliver watched in silence, shocked by the violence with which Nolan moved, but also by the power he radiated. Not like Goku's, which seemed fluid and controlled, but like an unstoppable avalanche that didn't stop until it finished its target. Meanwhile, although the variant was breathing with difficulty from the beating, he decided to speak to Nolan. It doesn't matter where you go. You'll always end up hurting your son. You are not my son. You're a mistake. A rotten reflection of what Mark could have been if he'd listened to me. After saying that, Nolan delivered the coup de grace to the variant, giving him a quick end so he wouldn't cause problems again. Silence returned for a moment. Oliver was still on the ground looking at Nolan, and Nolan finally turned toward him, seeing him face to face for the first time. You've grown faster than I imagined, and you fought better than I expected. Oliver got up with difficulty, his chest aching, but his heart pounding for something more than the fight. He nodded, still confused. I didn't think I'd see you again, and even less under these circumstances. Me neither, but I'm glad to see you've grown well. Unfortunately, this isn't the moment for a family reunion. There are still some corrupted versions of your brother loose, and we have to stop them. Then I'll go with you. Very well, but fight carefully. After their brief talk, both headed to their next destination to stop the variants still loose in the cities. But while they handled that, Mark was fighting elsewhere in the city. In fact, at that moment, he had just defeated another of his variants, so the area was safe for the time being, allowing Mark to catch his breath. I wonder if that was the last one. As Mark descended to the ground, a portal appeared on the road at that moment, revealing the figure of Angstrom, who had decided to take matters into his own hands upon seeing that his main plan hadn't worked. Angstrom, you again. You've managed to mess up my plans again. I'm tired of dealing with you, Mark. I've had it with you. I made sure your variants had all the power, all the advantage, but it wasn't enough. None of this has worked. I'm tired of waiting for you to break, so let's make it simple. You never know when to give up, Angstrom, but this time I'll finish you. Angstrom extended his hand, and with a simple gesture, he made a wave of drones start moving, forming a defense around him. I've spent all this time preparing for this moment. I had a lot of these drones built to finish you off. Do you really think that after all this, I'm gonna fall for your tricks? This time it'll be final. I won't let a false hero like you keep existing in this world. After saying that, Angstrom opened one of his portals behind Mark, since he planned to push him through and send him to a world that would finish him. Mark already knew Angstrom's tactics, so he quickly noticed the portal behind him. The drones began to hurl themselves at Mark, attacking him constantly to push him toward the portal. Seeing there were many, Mark began flying high to dodge them, smashing all he could in the process. But at that moment, another wave of drones headed rapidly toward him, flying at full speed to ram him. Mark reacted immediately, dodging one after another with agile movements, shifting quickly to avoid impact. These drones don't give up! After saying that, Mark decided to counterattack and began destroying the drones with his own fists, but for every drone he destroyed, more seemed to appear. Angstrom kept pace with him in the sky as well, watching the battle with a twisted smile. This kid has a lot of strength, but it doesn't matter. I still have more tricks. As Mark dodged the drones trying to ram him, several portals suddenly began to open in the air around him, appearing out of nowhere and spewing out more drones to force him into one. What the hell? These portals, they're appearing everywhere! Despite the situation, Mark began to maneuver in the air, dodging the drones and the portals that popped up around him at the same time. The portals appeared in different directions, forcing him to turn and change course constantly. But Mark tried to stay calm to remember what Goku had taught him and anticipate the movements. I can't let them corner me! Seeing that the drones and portals weren't enough to stop him, Angstrom opened another portal, from which a massive wave of drones came out, covering practically the entire sky in front of Mark. Let's see if this storm of machines can stop you! Mark instinctively covered his face and torso with his arms, protecting himself as the metallic tide of drones slammed into him. The sound of metal and the deafening buzz made it seem like he was trapped in an unstoppable storm. I'm not backing down! Not this time! With an explosion of strength and energy, Mark began to push his way forward, relentlessly punching every drone in his path, crushing them and hurling them aside with his fists. You're not gonna stop me! Angstrom frowned, starting to feel overwhelmed by Mark's determination. Damn it! These drones only help me pester him, not stop him! Mark advanced with unstoppable determination. Each punch he threw grew stronger and destroyed even more of the drones that attacked him without rest. Angstrom knew he couldn't rely on that tactic alone, but time was running out, and Mark kept getting closer without him being able to think of another way to stop him. I need another plan! This can't go on like this! Mark kept advancing without stopping, so Angstrom began planning his escape with one of his portals. If you want to stop me, you'll have to do more than throw machines at me! While the drones continued attacking Mark, Angstrom opened another of his portals to escape, since the situation wasn't in his favor. But Mark wasn't going to let him get away again. Thus, Mark finally shot forward at full speed, destroying the remaining drones and driving a heavy blow into Angstrom that shattered his metal armor, finally catching him. This ends now. This Mark is different. It's not just that his strength is greater. His will is a much bigger problem than I imagined. After that, Mark finished by knocking Angstrom out with a single punch, since they still needed him to learn the details of the attack, and there were still problems to deal with besides him, but at least he wouldn't be a threat.